Thank you. We're just going to take a second till we can get Sue on hooked up over here. Sue, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, the audience just can't hear you yet.
Okay.
Let's just do, well, wait. No, let's see what, Debbie, are you all set?
No, she's not.
Okay. Yeah, you should click it. Don't turn your head.
Debbie, a roll call.
Yes, sir. Jennifer Smiley.
Present.
Beverly Hasty. Here. Susan Munia. Here. Ann Ozinger.
Here.
Jean Hare.
Here.
Barry Burgess.
Here.
Larry Olson.
I'm here.
And Jerry Beard.
Here. John, proof of notice?
Yes, sir, I asked for your documents where statute notice is posted.
Thank you. And we got disposition of prior meetings. Can I hear, yeah, Ann?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as of August 19th, 2020 minutes as submitted.
And there's a second. Any questions, comments? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next is treasurer report.
Okay, 1 second.
I think they may have a tough time hearing you. Can they hear you?
Me?
Microphone.
You hear me?
Yep, now they can.
Okay. The income for this month was $90,437.57, and expenses was $76,227.55 for a net income of $14,210.02. And when you look at the report, you'll see the previous month was zeros because this is the beginning of our fiscal year. Okay, operating accounts. We have a total of $491,598.49. It is such a big increase from the previous month simply because people are paying their annual assessments, so we have this much money in our accounts. The Driftwood account is $42,745.16. Our cash reserves are $840,552.76. Now, when it comes to delinquencies and fines, there should have been a negative sign in front of the delinquencies and fines. Currently, it's $19,470.61. That's a huge increase from the previous month, but this is because people have not paid their annual assessments as of yet, and they are not far enough along to be at the attorney. And the total of all accounts is $53,936.86. And as a comparison, last year at this time, in 2019, the delinquencies and fines was $72,941.81, and the total for all the accounts was $89,139.12. So by following our documents and actually doing the late fees and that, we have reduced the fine rate. And then my only other comment is, are there any questions about the audit? The audit has been completed, as the board knows, and we will be sending out postcards so that anyone who wants a copy of the audit can come to the office and get a copy. That's it.
Thank you, Sue. Any comments for Sue? Well,
I see under,
please state your name.
Ellie Malilly, 14019. Thank you. The Driftwood account is the same. I thought you had taken a couple $1,000s out of there.
That is the total of the checking and the money market.
All right. Okay, ma'am. Okay, I was just like, because I know Bruce had asked for a couple thousand, and it looks like it's the same amount.
It's very. Ellie, remember, they're also paying their assessments. They're also paying their assessments, aren't you? No? Your assessment, oh, that's right, that's a different account. Sorry.
That doesn't come out of this. This is the amount that is.
We just realized that,
Driftwood.
Driftwood account is $42,740.
Ellie,
Yeah.
Ellie, I think what you're talking about is when they requested to buy the golf cart, and that has been delayed or stopped. They changed their mind. So that money was not used. Is that correct, Barry?
Okay, I was just wondering if he spent the money or what he was doing with it, so that's.
No, the golf cart's on hold, so that money was not spent.
That's my answer, thank you.
Yep. Jamar, could you maybe lower that down some, just a little bit? Maybe that may look at it. That's good. Thank you. Anything else?
Do I need to clarify the whole golf cart issue, or is that coming up later?
We don't even have it on the agenda, so, you know.
Is there a Driftwood committee report?
Well, probably, it could be on that. Yeah, John.
Jerry, Sue might be looking for a motion to approve the independent auditor's report.
Are you, Sue?
Yes, we need a motion, so I will make a motion. We approve the auditor's report as was received by the board.
Second.
Any questions about it? Any questions from the audience on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Anything else, Sue?
No.
Let's move on to the manager's report.
Okay, Jerry, for starters, the contract was executed with the concrete contractor. He is scheduled to begin work around the clubhouse area, probably starting with the bocce area, the week of September 21st. Looking forward to that. For the pool deck service, we probably have enough. I think we either have 3 or 4 proposals to replace the deck surface for the pool in hand. We don't have enough proposals to make a decision on the pool surface or the drainage issue. So we're still seeking additional proposals for those issues. The painting has been completed. I think we still have one bench that we're going to paint in Timber Park and one driftwood sign that we have to paint. And outside of that, we're expecting any day now a proposal from that same contractor that performed the painting to give us a broken down proposal, one to give us to clean and repair the RV lot and Little Road wall, and one to clean and repair it and paint it. It's not scheduled to be painted, I think, for 3 years, but we're getting those proposals to help us make that decision down the road. The fencing replacement has been completed and that contractor has been paid. We are making progress on activating the plumbing for the maintenance department in the maintenance building. We're expecting some answers soon. We're in the process of getting the existing plumbing approved through the county. The 2 new utility vehicles that we purchased have been on site with the vendor for about 2 weeks now. We're just waiting for the Department of Motor Vehicles, the registration process to be complete, and then they'll deliver. We expect that to be any day. The insurance property appraisal that was approved at, I think, at our last meeting, they're scheduled to come in and begin that process. That might be the week of the September 21st as well. I think I spoke to them earlier this week and they told me they're about 3 weeks out. So that's going to be probably the last week of this month. We're still looking for flooring contractors to give us some proposals to replace some flooring in the clubhouse. Don't currently have any written proposals for that work. Made contact with the vendor that's supposed to replace the bocce court surface, and I'm waiting for their scheduler to let me know when their anticipated start date is. I'm also waiting for an anticipated start date for the contractor that's doing the gazebo repairs. All I have, Jerry.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions on the board for John? Ann?
I have a question.
Wait, hold on, so Ann. Oh, so go ahead and go.
Okay, John, on the lettering on the signs, the big signs, and also the monuments on Lamadera, where do we stand on those?
So glad you reminded me. That was on my agenda to discuss today, and I completely forgot. So we actually, after contacting numerous sign contractors and taking a couple steps with many of them, we finally thought we found the vendor that was going to satisfy our needs. A couple weeks ago, I think a few board members, maybe Beverly and Jerry, were here and met with the contractor with us, and it's been about a week since my last contact, and they're missing in action now, so I might have to start over.
Ann?
I have 2 questions. The board discussed at one time that there would not be any plumbing up at the maintenance building. So now what changed that now that's on the program here?
I don't know that decision's been made since I've been here.
There was a big discussion on they didn't need toilet up there, so therefore they didn't need plumbing. There was a lot of discussion on the plumbing.
That must be before my time.
It was like at the last meeting of the one previous to it.
Yes, yes.
We talked about,
Isn't that for the wood shop?
like,
Yes.
for the wood shop, that we're not putting a toilet in for the wood shop.
No,
We're not done toilet. But I think there's been discussion going on up there about the sprinklers, that since we opened up the head, I mean, something going on, there have to be sprinklers installed throughout the maintenance shot. So maybe that's what she's referring to.
Right, all right, so I can give you a little more breakdown on what's going on. So it's been on my agenda since I started here to activate the facilities for the maintenance workers. The maintenance workers should have plumbing facility. They should be able to wash their paintbrushes and go to the bathroom without having to come to the clubhouse, right? So that's been on my agenda. So that coincides with the wood shop move because we do need sprinklers in the wood shop. So to activate the plumbing to allow the installation of sprinklers, it forces us to activate the restroom facilities for the maintenance workers.
And it's not just for the wood shop. Even if we didn't move it, we have to have sprinklers for, you know, for the building. So it's not like we're putting sprinklers in just for the wood shop.
Right, so there was, just to give everyone a little bit of background, there was this existing plumbing in the maintenance building. At some point in time, 2-3 years ago, the county came in and disconnected or shut down the sewer line because the plumbing was not approved. They had no record of it on county records. So that has been in that condition for 2 to 3 years, from my understanding. So it's, as I said, it's been on my agenda to reactivate that plumbing and reactivate the sewer so that the maintenance guys have a facility that they can use. And it just happens to be coinciding with the move for the wood shop, and one or the other, depending on how you're looking at it, it's in an expedited form now.
Yeah.
I also have a question on painting. I realize that the destination signs aren't completed because those need to be stenciled once they're painted, completely painted. But I'm told that the painting is completed, and then I'm told it's not completed. Are we not going to have senior village, family village, or no soliciting signs any longer?
Well, let me answer that,
they're
John.
gone.
Because the guy who's doing the signs or making up the signs for us to cover a bunch of those signs, and that's why it's not completed. Because again, and I wasn't called up to come in for this meeting in Beverlywood. We happened to be in the building when this guy come in, and John said there's a sign guy coming in. So, and he could, and that's the only reason that we were aware of the sign. And the guy sat down and he was happy with, but now John told me the other day he can't find the guy.
Okay, Jan's talking about the little dangly ones under the village signs.
But this is all going in correspondence.
Okay, so this is a different contractor than the one that painted the clubhouse and the outbuildings and stuff?
Right, so here's the plan as I understand it, right? We don't want to re-stencil anything. All of the plywood directional signs have been stenciled. So the plan is to get a sign company to make those in sign with better font, better colors that will last forever, so they don't have to be re-stenciled every couple of years. That's the plan.
Okay.
We've struck out with at least probably 12 to 15 local sign companies, so we just have to keep increasing our radius until we find a sign contractor that wants to work for a living.
But what about the other signs that were removed, the little signs?
So if the board wants those replaced, when we find that sign company that's going to perform the work for us, we can get those remade and reinstalled.
We can't reuse where are the ones that we already have?
Those were not.
They're made in that color. They're not painted signs.
Okay, thank you. Needed that information. Thank you.
Anybody else from the board?
So I don't know that the question was answered. Are we going to replace the little signs or not?
Right, but we need to wait till they get somebody. And do we still want them? You know, but the point is, all going to be in the price of that replacing. The project's not done yet. He's trying to get somebody. If thought he had somebody.
We want them.
Anybody else?
Patricia McKibben, 8520 Elgin Drive. There was, in the report that John gave, he alluded to the fact of moving the wood shop. I don't believe that that was ever passed on and that we are still thinking about moving the wood shop. I'm confused about that. Also, he's talking about putting in plumbing. I understand that they do need water, they do need a sink, they do need to be able to clean up after themselves. But all these years, everybody's been able to work with coming to the bathroom here. They are maintenance people. They're usually out on the land, on the grounds. So what kind of a financial figure are we talking about to do the complete job on the plumbing, which would include toilet facilities?
Well, they're still working on it. Like you said, the main thing isn't the toilet. The main thing is we have to get water in there for the sprinkler heads. So,
yeah, I understand that.
And why not doing that? Why not give them water in the sink? Why not put a toilet in? You know, but again, he has not got those figures yet. Right. And that's where, and the move was voted on to make the move, to go ahead on that. It was voted on a couple months back.
They discussed it. I did not understand that they.
It was voted on. It's in the minutes.
It's in the minutes, and we're going to do it, even though hardly anyone uses it.
Obvious, if we can't get a sprinkler system, which we have to get one, even for live oak stuff up there, well, it's going to take time to do it.
Well, I understand that. To me, we're just spending money like crazy, okay? I mean, every meeting I come to, it's $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 here, there, and everywhere. There was much discussion on moving the wood shop. And from everyone that I've talked to that was just a peon like me, which was a resident who pays the bills, we were not for that because it was going to involve a lot of money because you cannot do it in-house because of the county rules, regulations, you have to have license, you have to get a building permit, all of that good stuff that costs money, okay? So I'm up here standing as a resident, pays the money. There's a lot more people out here that pay in the money than there are the 8 of you sitting up there. We're concerned about the financial, that we're just throwing money. And if that wood shop has worked all of these years, and the maintenance building has worked all of these years, then give us a figure. Say, okay, if we're going to do the maintenance, we're going to do the sprinklers and the sink or whatever for an additional X number of dollars, say $400 or $500 to get the toilet and everything put in. That's reasonable. But at least we have been let. Excuse me, I have the floor.
Please talk up here.
Time's almost up.
But anyway, we have the right to have figures put before us because we are paying the bills. That's all I have to say about it.
And again, people that's sitting out there, you're residents to me, you're not peons. So you're a resident to me. Yes, Dale.
Please set your timer because I want to make sure I get my whole 3 minutes. I'm listening to all this again, and you know what really drives me crazy?
State your name.
Dale Thompson, Hachita Drive. Pat's right. Money. We don't mind money to approve. My problem is when people get letters saying that their driveway needs to be pressure washed or their grass needs to be cut, because it brings down the value of our homes, and we should all know better and want the value to stay up. Well, let me tell you what, the main value people see when they come to Timber Oaks is our entrances. If we can't even keep water, we just spent what, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it wound up being for the entrance. I don't know. I did want to find that out. The entrance at 52, and they look like crap. There's no color. There's no flowers. I don't even think the water's been working. We spent that money to make them nice. They look like crap. Now we're worrying about putting in water somewhere else and spending more money. Why don't we concentrate on putting money in to fix one thing first that really will improve Timber Oaks? And as much as I know, we got people wanting to get in here. The houses don't take long to sell, despite my wreath or my driveway or my grass. But the entrances, to me, is where the money should be going before anything else, because they look like, you know what.
Thank you.
Ellie Malilly.
Ellie, is this on the manager's report? Is this on the manager's report on the subjects that he brought up?
No, I'm just going to talk about the wood shop, saying I had talked quite a bit about not spending the money for that, and indeed the entrances do need done. They've needed done for 2 years now and haven't been, but all of a sudden, the maintenance place was painted green, and then 2 years later we painted it again. So kind of poor planning and whatnot. But as far as the wood shop, my feelings on that, I felt it was an unnecessary. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Next is on the committee is the art.
LeMay Nyford, Oakwood. The art committee met on September 9th. We approved 4 that were turned in and recommended for denial 1.
Can I get a motion to approve the 4? On the art, right? Gene?
I move that we accept it. I'll second it.
Okay. Any questions about the 4?
The one that was denied.
No, we're talking on the 4.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, now since there's no questions, all in favor say aye.
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 None opposed? Ayes have it. Now on this denial one. Yeah, Ann?
I need to make a comment. Our copy of that art was so tiny, I don't know what it says.
That is what we received, and on the letter that went out, they were asked to give us a full copy. Was that what it was? Debbie said that came through email.
Did it?
Yeah.
Somebody want to make a motion on that so we can just talk about it?
I'll move that we accept the architectural review committee and deny the one for Pepper Tree Lane, 10954 Pepper Tree Lane.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, now we can talk about it. Barry, you want something to say on it?
This is the first I've seen this.
Can't hear you, Gary.
On Pepper Tree, that one there is a single car garage, so it should be a single drive, shouldn't it? Shouldn't be widened anyway.
No, they can go up to 20 feet on a single.
On a single?
Yep.
Up to 20 feet, and
Bigger
they're
and-
asking to add 17 feet to whatever is existing. So unless that drive,
A double's
22
feet.
17 and 22.
20 and 22.
20 and 20.
Yeah, like, in other words, a single car, you can extend your driveway out 20 feet. On a two-car garage, you can go out to 22 feet. That's not adding that on to what your driveway had already.
That's including your existing driveway.
It's a max. And they want
They want to add 17 feet. So even if it's a double car and a double driveway, that means that double driveway currently could only be 5 foot. And they did not put the measurements in for the existing driveway.
And
Yeah, I too feel it should be denied, and with a new submitted drawing of the width of their current driveway, and must include the flare.
There was
not
also
to exceed, the
20 feet, right? There was also a letter attached, and in that letter they were talking about removing the sod and replacing it with Florida native plant, and whatever areas were left would be completed with grass. And the ARC rules are that you cannot put more than 50% of plants in any section of your yard. So we are also adding that. I asked Debbie to make a copy of the rules for it and send that, both for the driveway and for the landscaping.
And
The county says that you can have Florida friendly, which supersedes our guidelines. And we had a case where we have a property in here that's all mulch that was approved by the county. So I don't know what we're going to do with this 50% rule, because it really doesn't apply.
I don't think we can use it. I don't think we can use it in that case. My concern is that we have no idea what they're talking about as far as Florida plants, or whether, whether it can be used.
And again, they would have to have a drawing showing exactly where it's going to be placed.
And they did not put in for that. I just wanted them to know what the guidelines were.
anybody else on the board? Any residents want to speak on it? Okay, so a yes vote on this means that we're going along, that it's denied. So all in favor of denying this? Let's hear an aye. Aye. Opposed? Let's have it.
Vote on.
Yeah. And we had one that we did, it was recommended that the board members came in and signed on September 3rd. Somebody want to make a motion? And
I move that we accept the architectural committee's recommendation for approval of their submitted report on September 2nd.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Beverly, second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Now we move on to committee report.
Liz Goodnow of Forest. We had a hearing for a resident of 10709 Footprint Lane. The landscaping. The hearing was held on the 26th of August. The violation was the lawn and landscaping. That was where they had the tree that was down, the palm tree. All committee members were there. The resident was not in attendance. The recommended fine was $50 a day to a max of $5,000, which was approved at the 8/7 board meeting. That was the violation. The fines and suspension committee unanimously voted to enforce the fine.
Can I ask you a quick question? Did you guys hear it all from?
I checked the office usually. We did not hear from them. Sorry.
John, have you heard it all from these people at all?
Jerry, it's my understanding that we have from since the first letter till today, we had no.
All right. So, do we get a motion here to when to start this? Do we get a motion to start this fine, or are we going to start it as 8/7, or we're going to start it as? Yeah, John.
For bylaws, Jerry, it starts 5 days after the committee's decision.
We've already mailed that first letter.
Okay, you did then. Yep.
Are these people even getting their letters? Because I don't see on a certified mail receipt that anything's been signed by the homeowner.
Yes, the card that they sign is in the
Oh, but they have received them then? Okay. Oh, this is a different one. Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we have another one here. What?
We only had one.
There was only one that they had.
This was in my mailbox. There's one for Powers Drive, El Dorado Hills, California. Overdue.
Oh, that's a different one.
An overdue fine?
Okay, Pat.
Okay.
Yes, Pat, go ahead.
It's already been fined,
Okay.
All right, so Pat's speaking. Yeah, Deb.
Okay. That's back up to the item on your agenda, overdue fine.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Pat.
I just have a question. I don't know when to give my report. You've got also listed on the agenda, document review. So do you want me to give my report now, or do you want to give the report in document review?
It's up to you.
Okay, well, I'm here, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's short, sweet, and to the point. The purpose, so first of all, I'm going to read what the purpose of our committee is. I want everybody to understand so that we won't get a lot of grief, okay? The purpose of the ad hoc committee to review and clarify all Timber Oaks legal documents. Corrections should not change the implied meaning of said documents. That's the description. On our meetings of August the 26th and September the 9th, it involved the review of the bylaws and some of the covenants. I can't talk today. Anyway, it's quite involved. It's quite reedy. It's very stressful. So it's going to move a little slower than I had originally thought. I'm kind of impatient, so I always think things are going to go a lot quicker than they do. But anyway, we have got halfway through the covenants, and at this point, our committee is a work in progress. Mr. President, when somebody's up here giving a report and they're in front of you, would you please have the peanut gallery be a little bit more quiet?
They're not the peanut gallery, they're residents,
well,
and she was coughing.
Oh, okay, I
please.
didn't hear it that way.
Well,
okay.
I can't speak on what you hear and what you don't hear. But like I said, somebody's entitled to cough.
That's all right, yeah. I'll let that drop. At this point, our committee is a work in progress. The findings of the committee will be presented to the board upon completion, and then will be made available to our residents. How I have planned to do this, and people that are on board, I have been putting up a guide sheet, which the bylaws everything that we questioned or whatever was on one sheet, okay? When we complete all of the documents, there will be a sheet that we could put notice in the Timber Times that any of the residents that want a clarification of certain parts of the documents, they could come down and pick up the sheet. I see no reason for a mailing or anything like that. Just let them know with the Timber Oaks time that it's down here. The documents, the covenants, bylaws, let me see, all of them. They each will have what I'm calling a cheat sheet. And that's what we go over in our meeting, each meeting. I have what I've read and pointed out, and then the rest of the committee, they add to me what they see that is a little, I like my favorite word, wonky. Okay? Now, what we're finding, these documents were not proofed very well at all. So we're hoping to not have any problems with having to have an amendment or having something filed with the attorney and the state. But at this point, we can't guarantee that. Okay? That's all.
Okay, but the only thing, my understanding is you guys were going to clarify some of the wording. I think that needs to be done first, and then if you want to decide, but I don't want nothing to go out to residents until the board sees it.
The board will be given the whole package.
Yeah, and I don't want nothing going out until the board says, okay, we agree with this.
Nothing will be done until the board approves.
Right.
Period.
But again,
you will get the packet that has the 4 or 5 cheat sheets. Okay, you will be given it at one meeting, and then I don't expect you to address it until perhaps the next meeting or the meeting after that, because you're going to find it's very wordy. Not my cheat sheet, but what you're going to have to check with in the documents. Okay, so we have talked about at the committee about how we would, handle this. And the board will be in the loop first. Each board meeting, you will only get a pretty much of a report like this, just like I've given you, because I don't want to put anything out there until the board has approved it. Will that work for you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Submitted respectfully by Patricia McKibben, Chairman.
Thank you, Patricia. Anybody else? Chris?
Chris Dabrowski for Finance. I'll shorten this quite a bit. There was 2 checks in question. Sue provided us with the documentation that satisfied us. We noted that you have spent more money on maintenance again this past month. And then we like to point out that you have hired a resident for the Timber Oaks Casca website. And we normally have residents only as volunteers, and there's no formal policy to employ residents.
Well, just let me answer that question on this. First place, we searched for a website. We had no idea this resident even lived in here. We found his website. We checked many different websites. It was hard times going through. This guy seemed reasonable. Next thing you know, we find out that he lives here. So he was able to come in here and do it. But we appreciate you guys going over the bills. But I think on who we hire or whatever, it should not be questioned through Debbie or whatever. It should be questioned and putting them people on the spot. So in the future, if you have any questions on who we hire, see John or see the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. And anybody else? There's one from the Live Oaks. Bonnie's not here. Everybody got the paper on it. I guess, I mean, I can give you some idea. There's karaoke Sunday. They're trying to put some entertainment back in here. And there's going to be bingo back in here. I don't know what they're going to do prior to that. I see something they're talking about, a big screen outdoor in October prior to Halloween. But I don't know how that's going to work because I don't know about the copyrights and everything else. They haven't come to us yet and talked to us on that yet. But I have a few questions for them because whether that we can take movies and show movies or what they plan on doing, I have no idea. But, so, anybody else have anything else?
I've got a copy of this report.
You didn't get one?
It's not in my.
Well, here, you can have mine.
That's okay. It was in my just kind of.
All right.
Sorry.
So, but anything else, anybody else have any more on the team? Maybe you may know, maybe you'll wait.
Yeah, and well, she doesn't know anything about this either.
Yeah.
She hasn't been around.
Hey, any other committees here? Next meeting. Oh.
I just wanted to say that I got a text this morning and that all our ponds are okay. The water levels were checked and the ponds are okay.
Now we move on to unfinished business. Pool tag, you guys got anything?
It's still a work in progress.
All right.
The sooner people get in here with their fobs to get it updated, the sooner we'll be done. So spread the word.
Okay, next we come under new business, Driftwood accounts. What's, Sue?
Okay. Yes, I'd like to make a motion to put Barry on the Driftwood account. I know he wants to move the account. Oh, that's the motion, to put Barry on the Driftwood account.
And
I second.
any questions?
May I speak to it, Jerry?
Yeah.
The Driftwood director is the only one whose term is 2 years. Anyone from the Driftwood committee is only on for 1 year. So it's a little easier because it's a pain in the butt to change who's on the account. The other reason, I know Barry wants to move the money to a different bank, which I agree totally. But to do that, you need a board resolution, even at Bank of America, a board resolution. So this will have the resolution and we'll have the approved minutes to bring to the bank.
Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
All right, now we move on to collection policy. Sue, is that you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, hold on.
Hang on a second, Sue. I don't see on here, were we going to have a motion to accept the resignations of the committee members?
That's coming up later. Okay. Yeah, the collection policy.
Yeah. I don't know if you have 1 or 2 copies of the resolution chart. The differences between the two is one as it's worded almost like a proclamation, whereas the other does not have the whereas it's on it. It's an update of our current policy, and I personally prefer the one without the whereas, but I will make a motion that we accept the one without the whereas. We can change it after. It's not a big deal. I will move that we accept policy that does not say the whereases, but has the correction of the date, that has the added date on the top of it.
Draft number 2.
Draft number 2. Draft number 2. Is there a second?
I'll second it for the second.
Second. All right. So you want to speak on it?
I will speak on it. The wording that, ignoring the whereases for now. The one thing on number 9, I think it is, where it's boarded in blue. Right now, the changes that I made to the policy reflect what is done now, how we handle it. Where it says that either the manager and or board, I originally had treasurer because that's how it worked. If we have to take it to a motion that delays the procedure, I don't think it needs to have to be the treasurer. If we could say treasurer or president rather than the full board, this is only to, before they go to the attorney, it's a matter of just saying, yeah, they have a reasonable excuse, we'll put them on a payment plan instead. They've come into the office with some reason. If no one comes to the office to complain or whatever, they just automatically go through the process. Okay.
Ann?
Yes. I disagree with you, Susan, about taking out the whereas. The first one just states, these were written by the attorney. We spent $40,000 last year to have the attorney look over all of our documents. The whereas were put in by the attorney. Following that, there is a sentence, be it further resolved as follows. Well, if you don't feel comfortable with that sentence, because it looks like we have to resolve something as a resolution, that can be taken out. But all the whereas do legally states that number 1, Timber Oaks Community Association is in charge with the responsibility of collecting the assessments. The second one is from time to time, the homeowners become delinquent and fail to meet the responsibility of it. And then the third one, the board deems it to be in the best interest of the association to adopt a uniform and systematic procedure. Now, I feel that both copies, the one I submitted and the one that you submitted, leaving those out, should be sent to the attorney to be looked over again because you made quite a few changes to this current policy. And we've run into trouble before where lay people have written policies that weren't enforceable. They weren't legal. I changed one word in my copy from treasurer to board on number 9. It says the manager and or you had the treasurer. I suggested it be the board. There is no delay in anything because it says the board. The board can go in and sign things in a day, just like we do for ARCs when there's no board meeting and the ARC has to meet. And also it says the manager. The manager is generally here every day. There's no delay if the manager has the authority to do that.
Yes, may I answer, Jerry?
Yeah.
The only reason we had a copy written up by the attorney wasn't that we requested these copies. She sent it to us because she wanted us to go with her as our collection attorney instead of the collection attorney that we were using. Therefore, it was sent as a resolution because if you read the copy that you all had before, it stated that we would then use that attorney. And she wanted, and she still would like us to use her for collection. The policy before, it's just stating clearly exactly the whereases only state what's already in our covenants and bylaws. That's all that the whereases do. And whereas is like another word for because. And if if you say, because we have these powers, then therefore we're going to do, which is what therefore be it resolved would be. It's like, because we have the power to do it, we're going to do it, and this is how we're doing it. I mean, I don't care. If you want to put the whereas is that we need it be it resolved as follows.
Well, you know, Sue, with this going back and forth, I myself prefer whereas, and also with the put up there amended September 11th, but I kind of tend to agree with Ann on that other one that we whereas. Yeah.
And Sue, I realize that a lot of this is already in our covenants, but so are some of the things that are in the policy that was written. But I think if somebody comes in and, you know, that has been given a letter, you know, because of their assessments, and they come in and want a policy copy, I feel the whereas is more of a legal statement as to why. Even though it's in the covenants, people don't read them.
Anybody else for comments? Ellie?
Ellen Lilly, Full-Time Drive. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. The committee did get a little involved with this document, and then we were told the policy was really none of our prerogatives on this committee. However, I did get involved in it, and you know, one point of the committee was that we were going to try to make documentation a little more understandable for the average person. And I really liked Nikki's document much better than the one that Sue wrote. And I think it's such an important thing that the board really needs to compare the two documents and come up with a more clear write-up. Again, the way I see it, if we stay with Sue's policy, we're more or less going still 100% with resource. If we go to Nikki, she handles almost everything resource is doing now. That's the way I understand it. So I'm just saying for clarification, Jerry, that maybe you need to look at this again and consider Nikki's write-up. The whereas is excellent.
Ann?
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellen.
The whereas, all the whereas are not giving this collection assessment, you know, to a specific attorney. It just states that we may refer the resident to, you know, provide counsel, whatever. It's not giving it to a specific attorney for collections. It's just saying that we can, we may. So it's not locking us into anything.
Anybody else?
I'd like to answer some of what Ellie was saying. If you read Nikki's original version, it changes our procedure. This procedure gives us control much more than the attorney. If you read Nikki's original one, after the first letter, which is automatically sent out by resource, Nikki takes over, and she, in her policy, has us getting all the, taking anyone who is delinquent, no matter what condition their house is in, all the way to foreclosure, to having us purchase, to claim things within foreclosure, even though it could cost us quite a bit of money.
Anybody else? All right. Oh, wait, here comes Pat.
Oh, here comes Pat. Yeah, look out. Patricia McKibben, Elgin Drive. We discussed this at great length at the meeting. And we have a procedure that, as far as I understand, is working very well. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. If it's working and it's not broken, why are we talking about spending money with an attorney to change something that is working? I find that we do not need to involve the treasurer in any more responsibilities and duties than already under her hat, okay? Because if we keep continually adding to the job of the treasurer, we're not going to be able to get anyone that is going to want to step up and take the position. So I think we need to kind of back off of this and let what we've been doing continue. I'm sorry, Susan, but you wear a pretty big hat as it is. And someday we may need to have somebody else sitting in your seat. Lord knows I would not want to do it, and I've been a treasurer before, and I would not want anything. So I commend you for what you do, but I don't think you really need to be into this. I agree with Ann.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, the motion on the floor is to, what was the motion again? Sue was the draft two. To accept the draft two.
We add on the top, amended in today's date.
Yeah, and that's the one without the whereas.
Yeah, it's the only difference between the two is a whereas.
Yeah.
And the board.
And the word board.
Oh, the second copy still says the board.
We do. All right. Listen, Deb, do a roll call.
Yes, sir. Jennifer Smiley.
Can you change it to the?
No. Beverly Hasty.
No.
Susan Muniac.
I am confused. Did we change it or not?
No, we're voting on draft number.
We're voting on your draft, the motion that you made.
Okay, because I was willing to change the motion.
Well, let's go through this. The motions, we're voting right now.
Okay, then yes.
No.
Jean Hare.
No.
Barry Burgess.
No.
Larry Aldridge.
No.
Jerry Beard.
No.
All right, may I make another motion to use draft one with as amended to say today's date with adding the red line underneath saying amended September 11th, 2020.
Is there a second? Second? I don't think there's any more discussion on, is it? Yeah, John.
Jerry, I would just add at the bottom of the second page, the signature line and the date. It will be added to Debbie's policy book, so to make it official.
Awesome. You
Yeah.
Also, at the beginning, it says Timber Oaks Service Community Association, and it should say Timber Oaks Community Service. Those two words need to be reversed.
Yeah, John.
Right, Jerry, that Timber Oaks title line was one edit that I previously suggested. And in the third whereas paragraph, the last sentence, we can delete the, it's got time to time twice in that sentence.
I personally think this thing should be rewritten, given to us the right way. And so that we can.
Well, one says timely and one says time to time.
Time.
Really say time to time.
Because mine also has be it further
yeah,
resolved,
right.
and is the further scratched off or not scratched off? Mine has a line.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I think this needs to be cleaned up, so.
Put the date you amended and keep the right time off. Right.
So, do you,
Well, we need to vote on this and then we can,
Right.
no,
okay, do it.
or amend it to postpone.
I just think it should be written up right.
So do you want to amend your motion to postpone this to the next meeting?
Sure. You bet postpone it to the next meeting.
Jennifer, you want a second? I'll second that.
All right, so that's just canceled. Okay, next on the list is overdue fine. That's you, Sue.
I'd like to make a motion to send to the attorney the house on Merrimack. And for some reason, I lost my paper. What his address is on Merrimack.
8115.
Thank you. To the attorney, to our collection attorney, this person has had a fine that went to its maximum of $1,000, and they have not paid it. The fine is over a year old. They owed us $1,000, and in the last few months, they have not even been paying their dues. So they are overdue. They are not at the point of going to the attorney yet, but they are overdue. They actually owe us right now $1,225.75. They did not send in July, August, or at this point, we're not overdue yet for September. But the $1,000 fine has been there since before December of 2019.
So there was a second. Talked about
I'll
it.
second.
Any questions? Yeah.
Okay. Oh, John.
Yeah, John.
I'm just curious, Sue, I'm not aware of this address, and if the violation still exists, or is the motion to forward to the attorney for collection, or is the motion to forward for collection and continuing enforcement?
Why don't we do it for collection and continuing enforcement? Because it's still in violation. I think they're going through the process again.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Debbie, are you saying that these people have signed that they have received these certified mails? Okay, so they are aware of it. Susan, we changed our documents last year that now allows us to fine, I believe, up to $5,000.
But when we did this, it was only still $1,000.
But because they're past due a year now, could they fall under the new policy and we can start refining?
No.
No,
we
okay.
can start refining, but it has to go through the fining committee again.
Okay.
We will, it has to go through the process to get to the fining committee again. Then we can fine them even more. But right now, when we put the fine on the house, our limit was $1,000.
Okay.
And they got up to the $1,000 and they haven't paid.
Well, I know they're not going to pay $5 if they don't pay $1, but
Right.
I didn't know if it would put a little bit more pressure on, but maybe a letter from the attorney will certainly help.
Well, there's a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes got it. Now we're going to go into, Sue, this is your signs on display.
No, it's not mine.
Well, you're the one that put the thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I just want, we have an opinion from the attorney that we cannot, according to our documents, we cannot put signs, any signs that can be seen in or on our house. So that if anyone wants to put any type of sign in their window, it is against our covenant. And all I'm asking is just to let the people know that any sign that can be seen from the street are not according to our covenant.
Well, you know, it's good. So my problem is, I have a problem with that. and I think I know the sign that you're talking about. And
It's not one sign,
well,
Jerry.
let me just finish, Sue. I listened to you. The Lord gave you 2 ears. Try and listen with both. You know, what I'm saying is this, Sue. Nobody's not going to tell me what I can have in my house. If you don't like my picture or what I have a sign up that I love Budweiser or I love my wife or I love whatever or I love a politician, nobody's going to tell me I can't put that up in my house. And furthermore, if I have to put something up to block my window from people staring in my house and straining their eyes, they have a problem. Because if you want to see what I look like, ask me and I'll come outside. So, and some of these signs and your stuff, some of these people go berserk looking through these screens and another window with filters and looking up there just to see what's in there. I call those peeping Toms. So what I have inside my house or in my closure is my business. That's my feeling on it. Again, if you want to see what I look like, I'll gladly put on anything you want and I'll come outside and you can, and I'll model in front of you. That's my feeling. And
I am just saying, and we all got a copy of what the attorney said. All I'm saying is that we get yelled at on Facebook time and time again for not enforcing our covenant. I am not saying we should go and everybody go out and start looking for signs. If you don't want anyone to see what's in your house, you can put up a blank piece of paper on your window.
no, because I have somebody complain they couldn't see me. So, Ann, go ahead.
Susan, excuse me, I have the floor. Our covenants say, the preposition in our covenants is upon, not in. And there is a difference. And boy, I'll tell you, my 8th grade English teacher would still be proud of me today because I can rip off those prepositions like you wouldn't believe. Anyway, it says upon, not in. Also, this is an opinion of an attorney. In the email that we received, this attorney who gave her opinion did not quote any law. Now, there's always 2 sides in a trial, and one attorney is not going to win. So I'm like Jerry, I think we're opening a can of worms when we tell people what they can have inside their homes.
Our documents say display. The attorney gave you a definition of display. This is not unique to Timber Oaks. Many HOAs have the same language. I have friends who live in HOAs here and in Florida that they cannot display. If our documents did not display and only said upon, which is the same thing as on, upon is just more formal of on. It's not saying in, it's saying on. That's not the part that this is going against. It's going against display. Display means you're putting it out for somebody to see.
I think most people, you put your house on display when you paint it. You know, and
yeah, Susan. So there are people that live in Timber Oaks that will now, like I said, our next holiday is Halloween. They can put up a wooden sign. Well, they will put up a wooden sign that says Happy Halloween or Trick or Treat. There's also wooden signs out there that say welcome. These are now not allowed according to what you're saying because they're signs.
And then how about bumper stickers on cars? Or, you know, how about the bumper stickers on cars or the plates around your license plates or whatever? I'm sorry, Sue. What's in my house is my business. That's how I feel. Any other comments? Ellie?
Ellie Lilly, Pine Drive. But on the committee, we discussed the signs based on the last meeting. And more or less, we just said, okay, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. That it would absolutely open up a Pandora's box if we started rewriting. It's like 9-page document, paragraph. So I say just leave it alone. Again, you know, this is the USA, and we still have freedom to express our views. And for some that are more liberal, don't want to do that, so be it. I say just leave it as it is.
LeMay?
LeMay Nyford, Oakwood. My concern is you all have this covenant in front of you. None of us do. Can you please read out the wording that you are arguing over?
If you would like it read out, I can read it out.
Please.
All right. Unless otherwise permitted herein, no sign or poster shall be displayed or placed upon any lot, parcel, or dwelling, including road rights of way other than commonly sold and distributed address, member designation. And the only sign that is allowed further on in the section is for sale or for rent sign. And the operative word shall be displayed or placed upon.
I have to agree with Ann. I see nothing in there that says anything about what is in your house. So whether you put the sign in your house makes a huge difference on whether it is displayed on or upon your lot or house. It is not upon the house, it is inside. And I think we're taking a step backwards if we change that.
Thank you, Dale.
Dale Thompson, Conchita Drive, and when Pat stood up, somebody said, "Oh, Jesus Christ." If I see or read the person, I'm telling you, it's not going to be pretty. You can call the cops if you want, because I'm tired of people coming to board meetings that care and going to try to speak and hearing to the crap that comes out of other people's mouths. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm about tired of it. Now, this whole thing has got me nuts, and I'm trying to figure out why you formed the ad hoc committee. Okay, I had signed up to be on it, and I heard some remarks, so I figured, okay, I'll take myself off. But I have been going just to observe what's going on. I didn't know I was going to come to the board meeting today and hear the same stuff that was just discussed in the... Why are we having a meeting to change wording if we're going to come to the board meeting? Susan, we were trying to change it the other day, and she was on the phone. Now she's trying to change it again here at the board meeting. I'm confused. Why are we even having that?
One, I didn't try changing any wording at the committee meeting, Dale. You're wrong. And this is not changing any wording. This is the current wording in our document. And the attorney agreed that this is what it should be, that it should not be in any window. If you don't want to follow what the attorney says, fine. That's the board's prerogative. I'm just saying, if we have an opinion to do that, then why in heaven's name do we
Thank you, Sue.
Patricia McGibbon, Elgin Drive. I think our big hang up here is the word upon, as it should be if we're going to address what's in somebody's house. Should you have an opinion from one attorney? I have another opinion from another attorney who told me the word upon is different than therein. So if our rules said therein, it means in the house, not up on the house. When you get into court, there's a big difference in those two words.
Thank you, Ben.
I agree with Ann.
Terry Kaufman, Palencia Drive. I'm just wondering why we're allowing a no bullshit sign in our neighborhood. And when I put up my FUCK Trump sign, are you guys gonna be okay with that if it's in my window? I mean, seriously. You guys are just absolutely ridiculous. You complain more about yellow buckets on a sign than somebody displaying a no more bullshit sign. And Jerry, one other thing, nobody's looking in your window, dude.
Well, thank you. That makes me feel good that nobody's looking in my window.
You know,
And
as far as I know, nobody has come to me and even said what a sign is about. The whole thing is a sign inside or upon the outside of your property. Okay, and if it is a political sign, as Terry just brought up, the person will get a deed restriction letter. They have, 14 days to remove it. You know, I don't care what side of the fence you're on, because it's none of my business, and neither side will offend me if the sign's in somebody's window. Because everybody, as far as I'm concerned, we still live under a constitution, and we have the First Amendment right, which is freedom of speech. Okay, they get a deed restriction letter, they have 14 days to take it down. So they take it down on that 14th day. 3 days later, they stick it back up. They get another letter. They have 14 days to put it down. If it's political, this will all be over in less than, was it 50 days or something? I don't even know. So, you know, people are getting their panties in a wad here and over something that's going to be resolved, if it's political, in less than 2 months. You know, I'm sorry, like I've said before, the neighbor on the right of me can be for one party and the neighbor on the left another. They can each have a sign in their window. As long as they're not arguing in my front yard, I don't care. It's none of my business what their political issues or whatever are.
all right, since I don't see any more on this, it's just.
I just think that we should make a motion, or was there a motion on?
No, there was a motion, it was just on the sign what was put there, we were asked to put.
There's no motion, and I'd like to make a motion that we allow signs in windows. Inside people's private homes.
Right. If you're gonna open the door to get into the place, that's your home. You're gonna open the door to get in. So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 2 nays, all ayes. Okay. Now we move over to correspondence. Oh, let's, correspondence. Barry, you want to bring up the ones you have, 2 people or 3 people?
Okay. I have today 3 resignations from the committee, Driftwood Village Committee. I want to make a motion to accept those resignations.
I'll second.
Yeah. Any talk about it or anything?
Nope.
Anybody? No questions, answers? My only question is, are you going to have enough people to?
Yes.
Are you going to find people to?
The committee can get together and get replacements.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Not Barry, the committee.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't say I was going to.
I didn't.
Okay,
I was explaining to Sherry.
Yeah, because I asked the question, are you guys all separate people?
That wasn't.
All right, so motion made on the floor to accept the resignations of the 3 people. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And now we got some other ones here. Did you get this one in? Did you get that correspondence?
Yes.
We had somebody that lived over in we're in Oak Forest. They say complaining about some neighbors, and they complained about driving to the lot on the trees and stuff. That's the one you're talking about. You know, we took down the railing. People were complaining about that on some of the other correspondence, that people may cut through them and everything else. Right, and then you have the other resident in Oak Forest about driving through and walking out chatting the dogs in the past. there's a stakeout down, there's somebody with drugs down there.
To me, this is a criminal, a letter that involves the sheriff's department that we do not get involved in.
I'm just saying that.
So, I mean, we're aware of it. It says that there was a stakeout, so the police are aware of it. So there's nothing more that we can do. We have no rights to do anything.
Anybody else have any more correspondence? Yeah, John.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to talk about this under correspondence or if we want to have a closed legal meeting, but we need to make a determination as to that issue with the homeowner, with the tenants that weren't approved, and do we accept that homeowner's explanation and move on, or do we do an inspection? Like, what's the next direction for me on that issue?
Yeah.
Could we resolve that by having some affidavit that the attorney prints up and emails to you to have that person sign to make it more legal? And then I don't think we have to meet.
I mean, I don't think our goal was, I mean, if she chooses to stay, that's her business.
Right. We can't make anybody
sell their house. Right. And I think she's responding to. Right. Yeah, John.
If you want a suggestion from me, I don't know that an inspection is necessary, but I would have the attorney send an offer letter in response to that letter that we just received, stating that we're expecting compliance to continue and, you know, go in that direction.
Anybody else? And
I agree with John. I think that probably would be sufficient.
Jennifer, do you got any comments, closing comments? Beverly?
Well, what is this? What is this one?
Which one's that? That's what I'm saying.
We have the two different. This one's
my battery died. But thank you all for coming.
Right. And we just did have another correspondence one. It's about a guy, a lady had one about a van. Her son's parking in a parking lot, but we told her that she can't park there, so that's that correspondence. Yeah.
Okay. This.
Yeah.
If Jennifer said this vehicle's parked on the grass, that's not allowed. But it's a working. Picture. Okay, we do have a picture. It's a commercial van. Is it in a family or senior village?
It's in Driftwood.
Okay. There is a commercial vehicle, I believe it's in Oaks Club, and they cover it. There's covers for cars and stuff that you could, so maybe if they put a cover on it so the commercial stuff.
But just keep it off the grass.
But it must not be on the grass. Did you want to say something on that, Barry?
Well, just to add to that, and we're trying to follow the deed restrictions on commercial vans. Mm-hmm. So you got two issues here. It's a commercial van and he's parked on the grass. What we're going to do maybe in the next newsletter is try to encourage people with commercial vans to park in the garage. And if they can't, then used to, they would just get a square sign or something and cover the name of the van so it looked like it was not a commercial van.
This whole van is.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But they put a cover over one foot.
Or a cover, yeah.
But not on the grass.
Yeah.
We'll Driftwood's handling it.
Barry, do you got anything to say in the end?
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing, and I've noticed since Jerry's been the president that the meetings have been a lot calmer and a lot more professional. However, I felt like I was attacked today, and I do not appreciate that. I would hope that the board members can stay professional, and I would hope that the audience can stay professional. I know that there's a lot of heated discussion on the whole Trump thing, but you know, I just think we're adults and we need to stay professional and not attack each other. I just would like to say that.
Gene?
I'd like to thank everybody for coming.
And I'll speak, and Larry's happy. Likes to thank everybody, he said. And
I'd like to thank everyone who comes too. I know that we were elected by the residents, and there's
well over 1,000 residents in Timber Oaks, but we do still want to hear what you say. We're not up here as a dictatorship. You know, I'm a resident first too. It's my money and, you know, my property value, but we do want the feedback. We just, as Barry said, would like it to be respectful. Thank you.
And I want to say thank you all for coming. Enjoy your day, enjoy your life. Okay, Sue, I keep forgetting about you. I don't see you.
I realize that. I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and I will be down there at the beginning of October.
Can't wait. I didn't say that sarcastic. I just said, can't wait. I want to see everybody come back. Make a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Now we got open forum. Ms. Dale?
Okay, first of all, I have to agree with what you said, Barry. The meetings they go just like that. I mean, you all know what you're doing. You've pretty much got your paperwork. The meetings, as far as the board goes, I think the meetings are being held a lot better than all the ones in the past. Now, I have a question. The person that put on the correspondence about the house in Oak Forest with the drugs and everything, are you telling me that that person put it on the agenda today and they're not here?
They didn't put it on agenda, they put it under correspondence.
Or correspondence, but they're not here?
No.
This just absolutely kills me. I came here today to back up somebody that's complaining about something and they're not even here. Okay, I don't understand, and now you're saying that that's up to the sheriff's department. Okay, so the board, the rules, whatever, can tell us we can't put signs in our yard, we can't have a van with our work and all that on it, kind of silly little things, can't have a bird bath in the front yard. All of this is bringing down the value of our home, it always says on our letter. But if I want to sell drugs out of my house and I want to drop hypodermic needles in my neighbor's driveway, which there was 2 of them, one was empty, one was full, the pictures are right on Facebook. There's nothing that Timber Oaks can do to try to do something about this.
You want us to find them?
You find me if I don't take my sign out of the yard in 15 days, right?
And?
No, what happens to me if I leave my sign up?
We're trying to answer it, Dale.
I know what's happening. Dale, in the past, they have stated that we don't have
to comment at open forum, but I would like to address this. Okay, the only thing that our office manager could do would be to send a letter, kind of like the deed restriction letter, that said, it has come to our attention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, if there's something that's not going on, because we don't have proof, we're not inside that home, we don't have surveillance on that house ourselves, because it's a police matter, and it ends up that these people aren't doing what residents or whatever are saying they are, we set ourselves up for a lawsuit because we've now accused them of a crime that may not be taking place there.
So why can't Timber Oaks go to the sheriff's department and see the video and everything else that they have on file of what's going on? Do you mean to tell me if they decide to come up to the pool or something and they drive hypodermic needles out here in our parking lot, you're not going to do nothing but call the sheriff?
Then that's a different issue, because that's on our property now, not theirs.
Oh, I can't put a sign on my property.
I would like.
Dale, just let her answer. She's trying to answer.
Leonie worked for the police department. Leonie, do you mind telling the residents sometimes how long a surveillance may take place before there's action?
Oh, this has been quite a while. Well, this has been my standpoint on the matter. I've been telling everybody, calm down. They're probably trying to get the big wigs, and that takes a while. They don't want to jump on something little like this and lose out on the bigger picture. But in the meantime, these older people that are living right in this neighborhood, I mean, when a neighbor finds needles in his yard, in his driveway, and you're telling me that we can't do anything about it. I just can't.
Well, did they see where the needles came from? No, you just found them in your yard.
They could have had insulin in them. We don't know. Without proof.
But the sheriff's office must know. They've been.
But exactly, it's the sheriff's department that has to handle this. I know. I mean, it's legal. It's all legal. We can't set ourselves up, you know, for falsely accusing somebody without proof. The neighbors need to keep taking pictures of license plate numbers, times, and dates, and you know, we as a board or the management company cannot stop people from having visitors at their home. You know, that's not proof that somebody's there buying drugs. Unless they actually see drugs being handed to somebody in a car and money exchanged, we don't have physical proof. It's the whole issue here of proof. And the fact if there is surveillance, the sheriff's department will get that proof eventually.
Okay, so what kind of proof does Timber Oaks need? And then if there's some kind of proof presented, what would you be able to do?
Probably the proof would be actual photos of somebody handing somebody drugs and somebody handing them money.
Okay, or somebody.
Right. That's. I mean, we have to have actual proof. Then our responsibility would be to turn that over to the sheriff's department. Because it's illegal. It's illegal.
If the residents have that same proof, don't give it to us. Give it to the sheriff. They're the ones that can arrest them. We can't arrest them.
I'm just trying to determine what I could and could not do out of my own home that would be considered something that Timber Oaks itself would come down on me for, or what I would be able to get away with as long as the sheriff didn't.
Inside your four walls, you can do almost anything you want. Because we can't go inside your house. We can't see what you're doing inside your house unless you've got some people looking through your windows.
We're all frustrated too. We don't like to see any type of criminal activity or even anybody, you know, going against our covenances. But our hands are tied in some instances.
Anybody else? Thank you all for showing up.